Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I've got a pretty rubbish rack, a lot of vowels, and in particular 3 duplicate eyes. I can sort the rack out by playing Inia. That's not a great rack leave, and it may not be a great score. However, the M's are going to boost the score. So I can play Inia here for 15. Can I play off any more vowels? I'm sure I can't play off a third eye. But what about the O? No, I can't see a way of doing that. I could play Neoi, but that's keeping duplicate eye, so this is better. And I draw all consonants, so my vowel glut ends immediately. No bingo here, but I've got the H for score. And this is a tricky rack because it doesn't offer a lot of candidate moves. Row H is available for 6-letter plays. Double M only takes an M at the end. And row H remains available. Irid takes a V in front for future reference, so that's pretty hot. I can't play underneath the R of Irid because that only takes an E. Now, I don't have any 6-letter plays that don't use the S. What about ones which do? Well, I'm not seeing any. So, how to sort the rack out? Well, this is quite tricky. I've got NOH on my rack, but there's nowhere great for that. NOH and HI is opening up column 1. I don't want to do that. NOH underneath MA is just not going to score very much. What about a play through the R? Well, I'm just not seeing a play. So what about playing NOH here? 14 points, not very good, but I'm taking out a hotspot. I'm not offering very much. I'm going with this. Not good, but survivable, I think. A play of will would leave NRS, but I'm not going to score very much with this rack. W goes in front of HID, but I can't get that to score twice. Do I have anything through the I of Irid? Well, I have wills, but that burns the S for not very many points. 24. So I'd like to do a bit better than that. But if I play will and keep NRS and pick a couple of vowels, I could have quite a strong rack next go. 17 points for my opponent, which is good. So I can play will here, and I do have the S, so it's not definitely a bad thing to do to be opening up column 13 for bingo's ending S. So will for 17. I get my 2 vowels, but is it enough? I don't think there's a 7 here. Although there could be, and it looks pretty close to one. I've got the un prefix, the OUS ending. I've got corn as a component part of a word. So I can't see a 7, and I think it's just the L's of will that are floaters. And I'm not seeing anything there. Just 1 point between us at the moment. So a low scoring start to the game, given how many plays have been made. No plays longer than 4 letters long, and we've had 6 plays in total. But we haven't formed a ladder down to one side. All the action's been compressed to 3 rows in the middle of the board, which is quite an unusual thing to happen. Now I have corno in column 5. Okay, those 3 rows are broken through with Lunt. And that's good, another low score, which is what I want to continue while I'm struggling with racks. So I've got 2 new floaters. Neither of them helps me, I don't think. Not seeing anything. So, how to sort this rack out? Now, I mentioned Corno, 14 points. The downside to that is that it retains the U. Well, through an A, I would have rankers. So, is there anywhere else for me to play? PIC is good. Nothing goes after Nor. Can't see anything beginning with the C on this double letter square going through the T of Lunt. I think I'm going with Corno. Such a shame to be retaining this U, however. This is what I'm doing. Wow, 3 S's. And U and V. Varus is good, which would sort out all of the problems with this rack. Ah, look at this. I've got the V for Virid. So, Varus and Virid, fantastic. And that's unlikely to be blocked, since only a V goes in front of Virid. So that should give me a good lead, and with a rack leave of double S, I could be in good shape with a reasonable draw. Do I have any alternative plays to Varus? I don't think I do. Ervas is its anagram. That doesn't play in that spot with the V tripled. Or indeed in that spot, period. Great, not blocked. So Varus for 49 points. And that is a good pickup. The blank, well, triplicate S, not fantastic, but the rest of the rack is so good that I surely have a bingo here. I have a sense with the blank as an N, which plays in column 13 and in row N. Unlikely for both of those to be blocked. Are there any double-double lanes? Well, there's column 11, but I don't have anything which goes in front of U, so I don't think that's going to be productive. Now, ascents in the 2 spots mentioned don't even get doubled. Okay, so do I have a triple word play beginning with P? I think I do. Well, I do. I have pastness, but that's putting the blank on this double letter square. Can I do better than that? Does trespass have an anagram? I think it does. Not seeing it. So I've got pastness in my back pocket. Now I'm looking for another bingo beginning with P. Well, that looks possible. Well, yes, I think, pastizes, but again, the blank gets doubled. That's pastness. Here we go. Patasses, fantastic. I'll stop there. Anything else isn't going to be better. So patasses for 80. Well, it's possible there would have been a better play if it didn't have an S in last place, but with 3 S's, I think the likelihood was that it was going to end in S. So sometimes you've just got to make judgments as to whether it's worth exhausting a search to find something better when the chances of something better are, in your opinion, low. So 15 minutes on the clock. I've now got a really clunky rack, but I have a 60-point lead. And I have the X. Well, I don't have to rush to play that off. There are no super hot X spots. I could play Vox through the O of Corno, So that's leaving F, G and K. Having said that, I may struggle to make inroads on these 5 scoring tiles. Well, 4 scoring tiles, ignoring the G. I don't think there'll be a way of me playing off 3 of them. Great, only 26 points for my opponent. Now, he's provided a spot for my V. So I could play veg. The G doesn't go well with the X, so although it's not a scoring tile, it's quite useful to get rid of because it doesn't go well with any of the consonants on my rack. And it's always good to get rid of the V. And it's over 30 points. So that's my initial thought. Is there something better? I can't see any alternative plays in this neck of the woods. Now, I have Falx and Zoo. For 46 odd points. And I think I'm going with this. Because the points are so good. And I am keeping back veg for next go. So, Falx for 46. Great, the rack is improving. Onto an A, I would have Kagotla. I've still got veg, and that would leave a rack leave of KLOT, which is quite nice. A single scoring tile, and the right vowel consonant balance with 2 more consonants than vowels. And I have an 80-point lead. If my opponent plays across from the F, that's good in some ways because it means it'll be taking out column 15 for bingos ending in S, which is probably the best way for my opponent to catch me. So, do I have something better than veg? Arc is good and gull is good, but I don't have any KLE words. What about something beginning PI? No, I'm not seeing anything. Great. My veg spot remains available. An opponent takes out the bingo lane in column 12. Column 15 still available. And not a huge score, of only 2 tiles, so opponent could be sitting on a pretty good rack leave. Anyway, I need to focus on my rack. Veg for 31. I draw the second blank, which is great. The rest of the rack, not so. But no duplicates. And I have a scoring tile. Not too many spots on the board. 4 scoring tiles. Can't see a way of getting my K on this triple letter square in column 14. Now, my K does go quite well with the C. But I think the best I can see there is Doc. Keeping GLT blank. It would be nice to play off 1 more tile. I don't know of any 3-letter extensions to FY. I don't object to opening the board up because I have this blank. And having said that, Doc doesn't open the board up because K takes nothing in front of it, and in reality it's just taking out 2 good floaters. Gosh, just wondering if I had a bingo through the O. I've got the gold component part. And dog. Well, no, I'm not seeing anything. I've got good through the O. Column 13 is a bingo lane for bingos ending in the tiles which hook B. And also by takes an A in front, so row F is available. Opponent taking a while with this move. But at least he hasn't got the blank. If I had a U, I could play Kludge. Just wondering about playing in column 15, but I suspect that the score sacrifice won't be worth doing. So do I have a play KOR something? Okay, just 16 points for my opponent. That's good. He opens up a new bingo lane, which is fine by me. And I'm just struggling with this rack. And I'm just struggling to play off tiles. So what about playing Dock here? My reservations about playing it through the sea was that it was taking out floaters and not opening up a new bingo lane. But if I play it here, all I'm doing is creating a new bingo lane. It's 22 points. It's not an ideal rack lead, but I can't see anything better. That is looking better. I have Wagtail on my rack, so I have Wagtails in column 15. That stays available. Fantastic. Here we go. Now, I can do better than that. I've got Otalgias. That's better because it gets the G doubled. So Otalgias for 80. And that's pretty good. I've now got a 140-point lead. And although this isn't a bingo-y rack, it's a pretty flexible one. Great. Opponent takes out a bingo lane in column 1. Fine by me. And look at this A in Otalgias. Just crying out for my H or my Y. So I could play H-E-Y. Do I have anything better? I don't think so. Look at that, 36 points. And a pretty good rack lead, provided I avoid vowels. Remaining vowels, 8 out of 17, so about half and half. Is there a way of playing off one more vowel? That would significantly improve the rack lead. And there is. Fantastic. Higher for 39, keeping duplicate E with a lot of E's to come, but it is 2 vowels rather than 3 being kept with the L, and it's a bigger score. So higher for 39. I draw one of those E's, and the rack as a whole has deteriorated, and unfortunately I've dodged the J and the Z, which is a shame. Wow, opponent resigned. Fair enough. Bit of a shame, but I guess that is his option. And the final score. I guess we just take it from the top. 228 to my opponent, 407 to me, a winning margin of 179 points. So a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. So it was my opponent to go first. He played MM. My rack, I play Inia. That looks fine. Opponent plays Irid. And now this was a rack I struggled with. I couldn't see any good plays. And yeah, Nihil, I like that. I3 through the eye of Irid. Obstructs row H. Sorts the rack out. Scores okay. I considered NOH, but I didn't like opening up column 1. And what I did, NOH for 14. Yeah, it's not bad, but it's not as good as Nihil. Opponent struggling a bit. Plays Poe. And now I struggle with this rack, and I play Will for 17, which is fine. Wow, look at that, pretty horrendous. Opponent plays Lunt. Now, Kern, that looks quite nice. Where's that playing? Ah, look at that. Moore takes an R. So Kern, Moore, and in. That would have been a nice play. A decent rack leave. Instead, I do Cornu for 3 fewer points, keeping the U. Cornu, E2. Ah, because of Uppo. That's pretty good because nothing goes in front of Uppo and nothing goes in front of C. So I'd only be providing a 3-letter spot. But in any event, Kern looks better than those corn plays. Opponent's struggling again with vowels, just the one. Plays Fent. And now this was a great time for me. This rack is potentially really problematic, but there's a super hot spot on the board for 5-letter plays beginning with V, and that's exactly what I have. Opponent's rack plays Twerp for a good score, 42, and at this point I trail. But I've got this beautiful rack, and I have Potasses for 80. That's the Pastisses play and past Ness, which I saw, putting the blank on the double letter square, as does Pastless. And then you're on to bingos, which don't play in row O. Opponent's rack, he plays Ague. Now I have this horror show, but I have Falx, which, although the rack leave is pretty grim, the score is great. Vex for 43, where's that? Ah, because of Gov. Yep. Okay, so I saw Veg, but there was actually Vex there as well. Opponent's rack. So my opponent really struggled. His racks were pretty horrendous throughout, and, well, he doesn't have much to go for here. He plays Bye for 33. Now I play Veg, and that looks fine. Opponent plays Coco. He could have played Joko. I played Doc for 22. And is this the point at which my opponent quits? No, he plays QI. Ah, and of course I have this fantastic rack. And I have Otalgias for 80. Ragtail B1. Right, Ragtail and Rid for the same score. I didn't consider that bingo lane. Too excited by my column 15 bingos. There's Wagtails for 77. So I play Otalgias for 80. Opponent plays REI. Wow, look at this. Healy for 58. Coming all the way down to the E of Potasses. Fantastic. And keeping the Y for score the next turn. I thought my higher was good at 39. It's almost 20 points less than Healy. Opponent's rack. Okay, and this was the point at which he quit. Only 6 tiles in the bag, and he wasn't going to catch me. He was nearly 200 points behind. So, a cracking game. It was very tight at the beginning with all the action confined to the middle few rows and a lot of really short words to start with. And then it just exploded into life. And I had a good run in the middle with Varus, Potasses, Falx and Otalgias, and that just powered me to a huge lead, which overwhelmed my opponent. So I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.